स्वाध्यायः परमः
डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी.
Hello friends, Namaskar. I, Dr. Jaini Shah, Assistant Professor of English from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, welcome you all to this video lecture series that we are introducing, recording from the state-of-the-art Chaitanya studio of the university. And we are in the process of launching a new syllabus for FY, SY and TY, all the 3 years of Bachelor of Arts in English. And today I am here with a session which is based on Bye Bye Blackbird, a novel by Anita Desai. Now this particular session is second part, that is the first part dealt with the introductory elements of the novel, which are stated over here. As you can see that in the last session I started with Indian English women writers, such as a brief history which talked about the origin of Indian English novels in India. So Indian authors writing novels in English, and then from the year 1950 the impetus took place and women writers came to the field and they made their mark internationally by writing novels and poems and literature basically in English. So it started with writers like the first generation writers like Kamala Markandeya, Ruth Prawar Jhabwala, and Nayantara Sehgal, so on and so forth. And then we have Kiran Desai, Anita Desai, Jhumpa Lahiri, Arundhati Roy, etc. And we have novels such as Inheritance of Loss, Fire on the Mountain, Cry the Peacock, novels written, God of Small Things, novels written by Anita Desai, etc. Then we have Anita Desai's biography. She was born in the year 1937 and presently she is situated in the United States of America, and she holds a professor chair in the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, USA. Then we talked about her novels and her style of writing. She writes in English language, but she portrays Indianness in her writings, writing about Indian family lives, relationship intricacies of Indian families, the family structure, and the inner workings of minds of Indian people. These are her genres in which she writes. Then we have Bye Bye Blackbird, the novel which was published in the year 1971. And I discussed the plot and the themes which are there in Bye Bye Blackbird. Now today, to have just a little bit of revision, I am going to start with a plot of Bye Bye Blackbird, novel written by Anita Desai. It was published in the year 1971. It is set in England, United Kingdom of 1960s to it talks about the year 1965 to be very specific. So it is set in that period of time, and it is a story which revolves around three main characters. The three names are Dev, Adit Sen and Sara. Now Dev has arrived in London from India to study economics. He wishes to take admission in the London School of Economics and take an advanced course of economics over there. So basically the motive is to study over there and then to settle over there to earn a living. Now when Dev arrives, he stays at Adit's home. Adit is a friend from India who is now already settled in England, and he has married a British woman, that is Sara. Now the novel talks about the adjustment that these three characters have to make in an alien society. Now of course Sara is a Britisher, so she does not have to make the kind of adjustment that Dev and Adit have to make. But then Anita Desai weaves her character in such a way that it is a portrayal of reality that when she comes into uh, a relationship with an Indian, how she also feels alienated in her own society. So that we'll come to know as we progress in the session. Now, finally, it so happens that Adit and Sara, they decide to return to India, whereas Dev, who is an immigrant from India, he decides to take a job in Adit's firm, and he decides to stay back in England for time being. And the novel ends there. So this is the major story outline. This is the plot that the novel Bye Bye Blackbird deals with. Now we come to the term that is called diaspora. What is diaspora, friends? Diaspora is a Greek word which literally means dispersion or scatter. When something or someone is scattered from inside, writing which describes that is called diasporic writing. The whole new genre that has developed with this concept is called diasporic writing. Basically, diaspora is a feeling which deals with displacement, alienation, and feeling of nostalgia, which is based on memory. So when a person is displaced, he feels displaced. When someone from India has emigrated to UK, USA, and other countries of the world for better prospects of life, they feel displaced in the new society. They also feel alienated, a kind of isolation, not being able to relate to that society. So these feelings come in, and then they begin to feel nostalgia for their homeland. So basically, an Indian person is reminded of all the things that are Indian, his Indian home, his Indian family, Indian background, and Indian way of living. Everything is reminded of in this new place. And this is the genre, the concept of diasporic writing. Now, so basically, struggling between the homeland and the hostland. Hostland is the new country that he or she has visited. There is a critique called Sudesh Mishra. He says that living without belonging in one, belonging without living in the other. So, in the new society where you are living without belonging, so you just live your life, you just carry on with your life without actually belonging to the place, without actually finding your roots in the place. You keep on living is the one thing, and the other is belonging without living in the other, that is your homeland, where you are not living presently, but your identity, your nature belongs to your homeland still, even if you have left your country. So this mixed feeling is called diaspora. Right now, there is another critic who is called Tukaram Narayan. He says that, there is this whole in last few years there has been a trend of emigrating to other countries for better prospects, for studies purpose, for job purpose, for better standard of living. People emigrate to other countries. And so here the critic says that the diasporic Indian is like a banyan tree. He spreads out his roots in several soils, drawing nourishment from one when the rest dry up. So here the diasporic Indian, that is the person who is emigrating to other country, is called a diasporic Indian, and he is compared to a banyan tree which gets nourishment from one or the other root. If the one root dries up, the tree takes nourishment from the other root. far from being homeless, he has several homes, you know. He has left India, but then in the other countries where he is visiting, he has several homes over there. And that is the only way he has increasingly come to feel at home in the world, right? Now, all over the world, all over the globe, there are so many countries, so many places where there is a representation of Indian community. So basically, this person is talking about the same thing, that Indians, when they visit the newer countries, they, except for the few, they try to amalgamate with the society and they build their new homes over there. And that is why Indians increasingly come to feel at home in the world, not only in the place of their birth, that is India right now. Okay, and diasporic writers, these are the well-known, famous diasporic writers: V.S. Naipaul, Salman Rushdie, Bharti Mukherjee, Jhumpa Lahiri, Kiran Desai, Anita Desai. Of course, this novel is hers and we are dealing with that right now. Moving forward, this novel has three parts. The three parts are arrival, discovery and recognition, departure. The arrival part talks about Adit as an admirer of England because of its environment, clubs, coffee houses, buildings, etc. Basically, he is fascinated with England and he likes England. And then there is Dev, who has come to London for his studies, but he hates England and he criticizes the snob people of England. So two situations are found in the arrival part. Then we come to the second part, which is discovery and recognition, and this portion gives us the picturization of London city, where the characters are thrown into the full-fledged London society and the dilemma of immigrants in London, how they face discrimination, how they feel alienated from the society, and how they deal. Each character deals with the situation differently. So all of these occurs in the second part, which is discovery and recognition. The third part is departure. So over here, Adit and Sarah, they decide of leaving England and they return to India, whereas Dev decides to stay back in England. Now the next thing is that the novel deals with, we are now coming to the analysis part of the novel. So many people from India and from other countries, they are enchanted by England, by foreign countries, basically, not only England. Here we are talking about England. So how these three characters are enchanted? So we talk about Dev. Dev is appreciative of the paintings by Cezanne, the famous painting of Cezanne, Greens and Oranges, then the famous painting by Van Gogh, The Trees, and he's also enchanted by the muscular ballet girls of Degas in their ethereal tutus. Tutus is a costume for ballet dancing. So basically, Dev is admiring all the features that which are typically English. So this thing is for Dev. But on the other hand, he has high prejudice against English snobbery, but gets the job of a sales representative in a bookshop. Now, on the one hand, he admires English way of living, English things, but he hates the criticism, the discrimination that the people of England, the natives of Britain, they practice on the immigrants. Adit Sen, we come to him, he states that I love England, I admire England, I can appreciate her history and poetry as much as many Englishmen. So here is a person called Adit, a character, the one of the main characters, who claims that I like England, I love England, and I appreciate her history and poetry and every aspect of England. Now, so, and Sarah is, of course, she is a native English woman, she is a British person. So, here until now, the question of her admiring England has not arisen because she obviously loves her nation, her country. But once she marries Adit, that is where the problem of her identity arises. But then, until then, we can say that Adit is a self proclaimed Anglophile who turns into a hopeless, nostalgic returnee. Anglophile is a person who loves or who admires English things or English people or English way of living. So, Adit is an Anglophile, but events take a turn, and it so happens that he becomes nostalgic of India. Whereas Dev is a sworn Anglophobe. Anglophobe is a person who dislikes English aspects, English way of living. Of course, he likes these paintings and all of those things, buildings, malls, etc. But he hates English people, Dev. But it so happens that later on, at the end of the novel, Dev is the one who turns into a hopeful, anglicized inhabitant of the Great Britain. So he turns into anglicized person, that is one who inhabits English way of living, one who feels a part of English society. That is the transformation, a kind of metamorphosis which is found in the two male protagonists of the novel. Now, moving forward, we deal with the theme called alienation in a more deeper sense. Alienation leads to identity crisis and uncertainty of being, uncertainty of belonging to a society or to a group. And a critique notes that the tension between the local and the immigrant blackbird involves issues of alienation and accommodation that the immigrant has to confront in an alien and yet familiar world. So there's this tension, constant tension, which occurs between the natives and the immigrants, the people who have emigrated to other countries. The blackbird, the term blackbird, as you know, that it refers to Indian immigrants in the novel. And these issues, this tension, are related to alienation and adjustment, accommodation with the alien society and yet familiar world. So this contradiction, this constant friction takes place, and that is called as alienation. Adit witnesses that, he admires England, he admires English way of living, he admires English characteristics. But when he visits his in-laws, remember his wife is a native English woman. As so Adit, when he visits his in-laws, he showcases some of his Indian traits by rushing into the kitchen and asking his wife to make some pakoras. So, but this event is found to have a shocking impact on the mother-in-law of Adit. And then there is a announcement, an unexpected outbreak of the India-Pakistan war that is anticipated on the Indian land. So these two events trigger some hidden aspect of his personality, of his being, that he feels no more related, no more associated with the English society, but he becomes nostalgic of his homeland. And then he declares to his wife that I can't live here anymore. Our lives here have been so unreal. He is not able to relate with English society anymore. On the other hand, Sarah, she is uprooted from culture due to marriage with Indian immigrant Adit, who is referred to as Vogue. WOG, Vogue is a slang word which means a non-white person. So your non-white person is an Indian immigrant Adit. Now Sarah, on the other hand, though being a British woman, she is a great lover of India. She loves Tagore's poetry, she likes Himalayan flowers, and she likes henna patterns. But in the English society, her own people insult her for marrying an Indian immigrant. She is culturally alienated, and her marriage obliges her to keep to the loneliest path. So she tries her best to be an Indian wife to her husband Adit. She takes up Indian values, she takes up Indian way of living, she cooks Indian food, she wears Indian outfits, Indian jewelry. Though she is uncomfortable, she does it out of love for Adit. But in this procedure, in the procedure of becoming a wife to an Indian person, she loses her identity in the English native group. And that is where the conflict, the trigger, the friction arises between her and her relatives, her familiar people, her familiar groups, and at large English society. Now we come to the identity crisis that each character faces. First of all, we are going to start with Dev. In Dev, we find that there is a sense of uncertainty, and on the other hand, there is a mix of excitement as well as agitation, and he feels divided from within. Of course, he is Indian, so some part of his being still belongs to India, but he admires some part of English society, and he also, on the same side, dislikes some aspects of English society. So there is constant friction in his survival in English society. His problem starts from the sort of treatment which Indian immigrants receive from English people. Now, this novel is set in the year 1965, so we can assume that it talks about 1960s and 1970s. Situation back then was very different than it is now. Indian people, Asian as well as especially Indian people, received discriminative treatment from the society, from the native people. The toilets, the lavatories were different for men, women, and then for Asian people. So this discrimination was not only limited to that, but many other aspects in day-to-day life. So Dev had problems with that, and he hates the label Indian immigrant, and he hates being regarded as a second grade citizen who is considered as an intruder in the English society. So all these experiences lead to Dev feeling a stranger in England. And though in the beginning of the novel Dev is in confusion between whether to stay here or to go back, finally he decides, he overcomes these problems, these aspects of confusion, and then he decides to stay back in England. Now we come to identity crisis of Adit. Uh, in Adit's personality, in Adit's character, we find reconciliation between the Eastern and the Western society. Somehow there is a balance which he has created, and of course, due to that, he has taken up a job, he's successful, and he has a home over there. He has a great fascination for England, but at the same time, something triggers to his personality and he feels suffocating over there. And the question of survival comes in: who is he and where is he? Does he really belong to England? This is what is the important question that arises in Adit's mind. He wants to also no longer to be considered a vogue, an Asiatic and Indian immigrant, but he wants to be recognized as an English citizen, which never happens actually. And so he wants to return to India because he misses Indian home, Indian food, Indian sky, the various colors of the sky, and he feels the longing that English society is now unreal and I want to enter the real world which exists in India. So his nostalgia turns into illness also, and then they eventually, the couple Adit and Sara, they decide. Adit declares that I cannot stay here, and then Sara also follows because she is also suffering from the same kind of feelings. Now we come to Sara. She cannot decide her real identity. Her position, in a way, represents all immigrant wives who have their own problems of adjustment when placed in the contexts of cultures at loggerheads. So all the wives who are emigrated or who marry Indian immigrants, they face this cultural problems of being at loggerheads. Both the cultures are at the loggerheads constantly. So here she is a Britisher, but she is also at the same time a wife of an Indian. She cannot join English group in conversation because they make fun of her for marrying an Indian immigrant. She is caught between the two worlds and she finds that she belongs to none because she is not fully Indian, and now due to her husband, she is not into the English society as well. So a critique notes that two sides of her character, two roles that she is handling, do not seem to match or meet. She is not able to find a common ground where she can base her identity. And so we can say that cross-cultural marriage brings identity crisis even to the native British woman. Now we come to the ending of the novel. This quote is very important. It is put in Dev's mouth. It says that, "Make my bed and light the light. I will arrive late tonight. Blackbird, bye bye." So Dev utters these lines for Adit and Sara, also suggesting that he has decided to stay in England for a while, and you both, that is Adit being a blackbird, you may go to your nest, that is, you may go to India and find your belonging over there. So it is a kind of farewell to Adit and Sara, and it is a proclamation that he is going to see what England has to offer. He is not going to quit so easy, and he is going to stay, pursue his studies, and then he will decide whether he is going to stay any further or he is going to return to India. So this ironical reversal. At the start of the novel, Adit and Sara were the ones, this couple was settled, it had a home in England, and Dev was an immigrant who had problems. But by the end of the novel, the events take a turn, they take a course of time, so that Adit and Sara are the ones who are leaving their homes and coming back to returning to India, whereas Dev is deciding to study over there. Now, as you know by now, that this novel deals with the problems of adjustment, diaspora, alienation, and it is also believed that these novel is a kind of it has autobiographical elements as well, because Anita Desai herself, she was born in India and then she had gone to USA, so her experiences, maybe whatever she has experienced, whatever she has encountered, are also are also described in the novel. That being that, so we can say that it's a mix of personal experiences as well as general experiences that are faced by immigrants. Now, at the last, I just want to put some light on this theory, which is existentialism, which emerged in 19th and 20th century Europe. So European philosophers were the first to begin with this whole new philosophy called existentialism. And Soren Kierkegaard, Friedrich Nietzsche, Fyodor Dostoevsky and Jean-Paul Sartre are the prominent philosophers of this particular philosophy, and it deals with individual existence and freedom and choice. And it means that humans define their own meaning in life and try to make rational decisions despite existing in an irrational universe. So this definition of survival, this definition of existence that humans make by asking the important questions regarding their identity: who am I, where do I belong, right? So these are the questions regarding existence of a person. It is based on this five aspects, which are self-awareness, tension between freedom and responsibility, creating an identity and establishing meaningful relationships. So a person is always found torn between these aspects, between freedom and choice, between freedom and responsibility, between creating one's own identity as well as establishing meaningful relationships, searching for the meaning of life, for the purpose of life, for the values of life, and then accepting anxiety also as a condition of living. So you cannot always be happily, satisfactorily accepted. There are moments of anxiousness, anxiety, and you have to survive those also. So that is also one aspect. And being aware of death and non-being, that is non-existence, existence which is without meaning. So all these concepts, various layers of meanings which are attached to existence are also talked about in this theory of existentialism, and it is in a way talked about in the novel also, in diasporic literature also, when this whole theory of existence of human being, psychologically and emotionally, it comes into the play. So this is about existentialism. And then you have certain questions, very easy to answer from these are taken from the lecture itself. Define diaspora, explain the enchantment and fascination felt for England by the main characters, explain Bye Bye Blackbird as a novel of diaspora, identity crisis, alienation, and define existentialism and what do you understand by the term existentialism. So these are the questions, and these are some of the references which I used in order to explain you this whole second part of the novel, which deals with analysis and the major themes of the novel. So yes, this is it, friends, from my side today. Thank you for watching the video. Goodbye. See you around next time. Thank you.
स्वाध्यायः परमः